welcome to Pops and Hisses, a music podcast where you hear from the artists you love. I'm your host, Kevin Coffey, and in this episode, we have Eric Burton from four-time Grammy-nominated psych-soul band Black Pumas. Maybe you caught Black Pumas in their electrifying Grammy performance, maybe you've listened to their debut album, also called Black Pumas, or one of its many expanded or deluxe editions, or maybe like me, you've been dying to see them live. Eric Burton and Adrian Quesada have been electrifying since they got together and formed Black Pumas, first selling out Austin, Texas clubs, then pulling down Grammy nominations for the big categories like Best New Artist, Album of the Year, and Record of the Year. Not too bad. Right now, they're prepping some tour dates and working on a second album. And I talked to Eric about all of that stuff. Here where I am in Omaha, they're playing the Waiting Room Outdoors on August 8th. You can get tickets to that at 1%productions.com. That's ONEPERCENT Productions.com. And you can see their other tour dates at theblackpumas.com. Real quick, I want to remind you that you can listen to the Pops and Hisses podcast and find music news, reviews, and interviews at popsandhisses.com. But right now, it's time for my conversation with Eric Burton from Black Pumas. Let's get into it. Thanks for doing this, man. So, you said you were in the studio today working on some new music and stuff?
Actually, I was in the studio. I left an orthodontist. I was at the orthodontist office. But upon leaving that office, Fender's doing we're talking about doing a custom guitar, and so I spoke to them, and I realized that Adrian was in the studio recording a friend of ours that we were on tour with at one point, Rudy De Anda. So they were recording the new album there. So I kind of snuck in to say hey, and I bought some Dom Perignon over there, and I think they'll be celebrating one of the guys' birthdays in a few days. So I just popped in to say hey.
That's very cool. Very cool. So
and to answer your question, we are recording the second album.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. But right now, you guys are doing a lot of touring and some festivals and stuff coming up. Are you excited to get out there and play some shows?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding? Are you kidding, man? Like we're so pumped, man. I mean, I feel like at this point, I don't care who you are, if you're on stage, anywhere where there's people at the venue, they're going to be excited to see you for the fact that it's been 15 months or so since, we've really seen a live performance, from anyone. So we'll see. I know that people will be that much more excited that we're a fairly new band, and people have shown to dig our music, I guess.
Yeah, well, people will be excited just to see you guys, probably a lot of times for the first time, but yeah, just to be out there. Like, what was interesting to me is you guys just played a show at Stubbs not too long ago, and I'm sure a lot of those people in Austin had seen you guys before. But what was that like? Was the crowd just electric for that reason? Like, just so excited to be out and at a concert?
It was enchanting. It was nothing short of enchanting. It felt like an outer body experience for how big of a deal it was to observe. People, shoulder to shoulder, sweating on each other, dancing and, hooping and hollering and drinking Black Pumas beer. And, it was something out of a fairy tale book. And I felt like King Puma that night. It was really cool.
Is it cool to play that large of a show in Austin too?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing to play that large of a venue for the fact that it sold out quite quickly. We ended up adding 2 dates. It's seen as a legendary or historical event that venue had never sold out for a band 5 nights in a row, and so it was an honor to make that historical mark for Austin, and it was brilliant that. After we had done the shows, I was surprised by the city who came on stage on an encore and made me an honorary Texan. And so it was just beautiful, man. It was such a beautiful experience for all parties involved. I don't know, man. I feel like the entire band cried, if not on stage, in the green room every single night. It was really intense.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure you guys are excited to be playing this summer a lot more. I'm excited to see you guys. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, so I'm really excited for you guys to be here. It's a really cool venue right in the middle of the city you're playing. It's like right in this downtown area. The stage looks out over the crowd. It's a really cool place.
Amazing.
But I wonder, what are you guys playing at the shows? I mean, imagine a mix of the first record, some covers. I had read you guys were playing a couple new songs that aren't out yet.
Most definitely. We've kind of, we fortunately have had some time to get together, that everyone's vaccinated, and, we can spend some intimate time together to kind of revitalize and revamp older material that, or just from the very first album. We've learned some covers over time. I mean, I know we'll revisit Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. I know that we'll do our tried and true, Colors and Black Moon Rising. One song that I'm looking forward to potentially performing in Omaha, Nebraska, or actually have a friend out there who's a musician. I'm looking forward to performing the Politicians in My Eyes by the band called Death.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a new one that we've done, tasked by like our publishing company, like one of the supporting companies in overseas who help distribute and put our music out. They had an event and where they would take soul bands and or different kinds of bands to play an opposite genre's song and make it their own. So like they tasked us to do a punk song, and Politicians in My Eyes wasn't on the list, and so they were like, well, let's not do that. Why don't you pick like Blink-182 or something else that's on the list? And Adrian and I were like, dude, that would be like the least punk thing to do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's definitely a song that we both look forward to, bringing out. It's a pretty fun one.
That's cool. I love the covers that you've done, like things that I wouldn't expect. Even Fast Car, you guys do such a cool version of that. I love it. And some of the other ones that are on the, the expanded version of the album and stuff. How have you picked those songs to record? Are they just favorites, or we should try this, or how do you do that?
I feel like the songs that are on the album that aren't ours are ours, to the degree that I was either busking on the Santa Monica Pier playing Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, and right. Just over time, borrowed the affection of her fans, in my own connection with that song as I performed it. And Politicians in My Eyes is another one that I introduced, that I brought up to Adrian about doing. And, Adrian introduced me to Eleanor Rigby's, or the Beatles' Eleanor Rigby. And so I'm definitely looking forward to, performing that one as well, for the fact that we're just huge fans of the music that we play. It's not like this random happenstance that we would do Tracy Chapman's Fast Car or Politicians in My Eyes, Beatles. These are songs that we've been fans of for a very long time. So.
Right. So tell me a little. You said you've been working on a second album. How's that been going? You've had some time.
Yeah. I've definitely had some time, man. I think that it's going pretty organically enough, for the fact that we've just never stopped writing since we put out the first album. We started this band because we enjoy making music together generally. Mm-hmm. And while we were, kind of campaigning the first album across the country and the world, I always tasked the band that, hey, like maybe we should like stay behind 5 to 10 minutes after sound check. And Steve, man, I really like that pretty shuffle that you're doing right now. Just keep playing it and let me see if I can work out a guitar part. Or I'll hear Adrian just fiddling around and I'll say, play that again, and I'll try to play something. It's just, we're always constantly creating, and that's just how I am, especially on the road. So with that, we probably have a little over 20 ideas in various stages of completion, based on what we've gathered over time.
Yeah. That's awesome. And that's really cool you have that attitude, because a lot of groups after their first album, you're just, well, now we're promoting it and now we're doing this show, and you seem to never have time to make new music. So it's really awesome you guys have kind of carved that out while you're doing other stuff.
It's scary. I mean, you're exactly right, and it's terrifying for the fact that it can be not terrifying or scary, but it can be a daunting task to contend with an album that holds songs that you might have written 10 to 12 years ago. Like I wrote Colors like 11 years ago when I first started playing guitar, and maybe 2 or 3 of the songs on the album were like songs that I'd written from a long time ago. And so now it feels as if we're starting quite fresh. It's like we've had the handshake between Eric Burton and Adrian Casada. That is our first record. And now we're really like in the sandbox, discovering and exploring each other thereof.
That's really cool. And I wonder what it's like, because I'd known you'd written Colors in the past. What's it like to see that song in particular just kind of grow and be embraced by so many people? And it's just because it's such a unifying, great song that people love so much. And I wonder what that was like to see something you wrote on your guitar a decade ago.
Yeah, man. It almost feels like winning the lottery, to a degree. I moved around a lot as a kid, and for any kid, that's really tough. A lot of loneliness and a lot of just strife that comes in that, being interjected into, different cultures and different people from different walks of life. And I think that over time, I just got really good at just being kind of a chameleon with people, that I almost became popular for not being in one town for my entire life. That now, as Black Pumas has seen some of the successes that we have, it doesn't feel too weird to me. It does feel very. It doesn't feel bizarre, but it does feel like uncanny that a band, the way that we were formed, would see the amount of success that we've seen as quickly as it's happening. So that part of it has been like really kind of crazy to observe, especially as it pertains to the songs that people really enjoy, like Colors. It's kind of a crazy thing, because I didn't think that with me. It baffles me. I wrote that song in my underwear.
And now you're standing on stage and everyone's singing it with you.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep my pants on stage, though, for sure. It's and Adrian, I think, said it best. We've gone around the world, and at this point, to a degree, and it's one of the most brilliant things that we've seen is like being interjected into these rooms where people may speak a different language and may not even understand all of the lyrics in the songs, but still are mouthing and almost, emoting, from their hearts and soul, my lyrics. I'm like, wow, these people are actually singing the songs. And, from France to Germany to England to, to the Netherlands, it's been really uncanny to see the world singing with us. I don't know how to articulate how that feels. It's just, it feels like a big church, like I'm going back to home, a home that I've never been. Yeah.
Those are the best kind of shows. And I imagine that's just got to feel amazing when you're at the center of all of it.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't really feel like I'm at the center of it. I feel like we're all at the center of it, is why I look forward to the conversation that is performing on a stage. And I hope that people don't misperceive the fact that we're all on the same level, even though I'm physically elevated on this stage,
Yeah, but one of the things I've loved that you do, you get down in the crowd. Like
exactly.
I've not seen you guys live, but I've seen live videos and I've seen pictures and stuff. And like, you always love getting down in the crowd, which I love, because it's like a community thing. You're down there with everybody.
Yeah, man. I'm a people's person, and I really enjoy just connecting with people. I feel like it makes me really nervous to have to put the mask on, and act as if I'm not as human as the next person,
Right. Well, I love I love the collaboration you and Adrian have had, especially being people that didn't know each other and how well it's come together. So I kind of wonder what that was like. I mean, he's a little older than you. He's got a little more, music industry experience and stuff. And you guys have been working on even some of the songs that are on the record that we all now love and hear a lot. You've been working on some of those independently and then coming together. So what was that like when you guys met, or the first time you were in the studio? Like, did you have that feeling of like, oh, hell yeah, this is going to work. This is really great. I just wondered what that was like.
I think we were both kind of nervous, to be honest. I mean, from my knowledge, Adrian was working on some instrumentals for whatever reason that he ended up needing a vocalist to help him finish those tracks. And I was conceptualizing my own album and like really stepping outside of the studio and stepping away from, certain friends and engineers and producers who, wanted to collaborate with me upon seeing me play like a solo gig or maybe even playing on the street. I was at a point where I needed to find my own sound. I needed to, learn about, how to produce and record my own music. And so while I was building my own little home recording studio, Adrian hit me up through Brian Ray, who's a producer here in town. And he said, hey man, I've got some tracks I need a vocalist for. And maybe we can do 2 or 3 songs. And I don't remember not leaving Adrian hanging for 2 weeks. Apparently, like, that's the story. Like, I just left him hanging. And, I got some of the music and I listened to the music and I was like, wow, this feels very like vivid and almost cinematic. It felt like the music was kind of writing itself as far as the lyrics and the melodies go. I was just quite moved by the music visually. So for that, I was happy that there was a chemistry already before even meeting him in person.
Right.
That, we finally got to the studio and, I had some lyrics for a few songs, which were the first songs we recorded was Black Moon Rising and Fire. I walked into the studio and it was a small studio. He's like behind this big baffle, like he's computer. I can see him a little bit through the window of the baffle. So I felt like I had to walk into a studio twice, which made me nervous, that much more nervous, this little space.
Yeah.
And, as soon as he was like, we shared a few words, he shared his intentions for what we were doing that day. I shared my intentions and, where I was coming from. And as soon as we pressed record, we were both, I didn't know if I was doing well or not. Like, I don't know. I'd never sang like this way on this kind of material. Like, I come from like singing folk music and like more neo soul. Like, I like Bob Dylan and Neil Young and,
right.
These guys, before Adrian Casada. And I was just hoping that I could, put some colors on the canvas that was Adrian's brilliant productions. And like at least maybe have a friend. Like at that point, I wasn't expecting to be as successful as we've become. But as soon as we recorded the first couple songs, we were pretty stoked and we were having fun. And eventually, 2 turned into 5, turned into 10, turned into like 17 songs. And we said, man, we would be remiss not to make a band. And so, we put a band together, went to our friend Steve Wertheimer at Sea Boys. He said, hey, yeah, I like the song Black Moon Rising. You guys can come play a month and we'll see how it goes every Thursday night. And by the 3rd week, we had like lines wrapped around the building and we became like, Austin's favorite dive bar party, so to speak.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm not from Austin, but I've been to South by Southwest a bunch of times, and I know that's not how Austin usually is. But I love knowing where you guys played and like seeing what that is. Like, I could visualize exactly what that was like, and that's just really cool.
It was amazing, man.
And now you're playing all over the world. You got a bunch of festivals coming up. You got some shows to play. Like I said, I'm excited to see you guys in Omaha. I haven't been able to catch you guys live yet, so that's going to be a really cool night.
I can't wait.
Thanks for listening to my talk with Eric Burton from Black Pumas. Check out their album Black Pumas and be on the lookout for their sophomore album, which should be coming soon. Also, check out their tour dates at theblackpumas.com, including a stop in Omaha at the Waiting Room Outdoors on August 8th. Subscribe to the Pops and Hisses podcast on your favorite podcast app, or head to popsandhisses.com where you can listen to it, find more music news, reviews, interviews, and of course, lots more podcast episodes. I'm your host, Kevin Coffey, and you can follow me on Twitter as @Omaha Music Guy, or find my page on Facebook by searching for my name, Kevin Coffey, which is spelled Coffey. Thank you to Hurrdat Media for producing the show, and I encourage you to check out all of Hurrdat's podcasts. They've got entertainment, sports, fitness, all kinds of great stuff. Find them all and lots more at hurrdatmedia.com/network. That's HURRDAT media.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
A Hurrdat Media Production.